Fuck with devils, I'm a rebel. Big city, got bitch, I got several. Bitch, I fuck with devils.
Welcome to the House of Spades, everybody. Today we have got Miss Nat, and we've got Jack Spade. He hasn't been here, so we got, Papa Jack Spade up in the house with us today, so we're actually going to do a video with him. Welcome, Mr. Spade.
I'm back. Feels good to be back. Feels good.
Hi.
We're so glad to have you with us today. All right, so today we're going over some information on a little YouTube channel called Dad. Now, Jack hasn't watched any of this, so he's not really, up to speed on everything. Nat and I have. She has watched more of the Discord, the Reddit, the Twitter, the Instagram that are all associated with this account. Yeah, he's got everything. And I just went through and picked apart every video. So we've got two sides of this. There's a lot of information to cover.
Can I at least state my piece wide? Can I at least do that?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right. I just had a problem with the whole dad thing. My thing was, why does he have to be called dad? Like, why? But I'm pretty sure you guys are going to explain that. But that was my thing. It was just like, no, I'm not jumping into a story with a guy named Dad off the back. Like, I don't even know this guy. We got to build a relationship first. We got to talk, buy me things,
Well, he's a dad. He's a dad. So, I mean, he's dad.
Yet. I don't see him in my life. He did nothing yet.
He's not your dad. He's just everybody's dad.
Well, that's just the problem.
I mean, and he's like a middle-aged white guy, so that's also a problem.
That's a big oof. Like, no.
All right, so after going through everything, I think he has got right at 33 videos. Now, he's got 33 videos on his actual channel. There are some more videos that are floating around, a couple on a mysterious YouTube server. There's a couple just kind of floating around in different accounts. Those I did not cover in this, but they do exist and they are out there, and you can get to them through going through his channel and going through the comments. I guess we should probably go ahead and start off with video number one. Video number one is a music video. He's walking around, he's singing about his obsession with True Value. He loves True Value, the hardware store. He's walking around, he starts looking at people, like really focusing on fathers with children, which is very creepy, but he's kind of hiding too, so they can't really see him. You see him walk up to a True Value store and dance with the wall and kind of rub himself on it. Not in that rubbing, he's not rubbing no parts on it. He's just rubbing himself on the video, on the wall.
That's the laugh right there.
I mean, what's a better feeling in the morning than rubbing your back against the wall just to get the scratch out,
I mean, it's not as...
It should be right.
It's not his back that he's rubbing, but,
well, yeah. Well, see, now I definitely... Yeah. Just to recap with everybody on YouTube, I have not checked anything out. I have not watched anything yet, so I'm fresh and new. So I'm just listening in and trying to find out what's up with the story just as you guys. So now I have to find out what the hell is going on with this man in this wall. But okay, sorry, Betty, go ahead.
So he's walking around. Next thing you know, you see a quick flash on the video, and it changes scenes, and you see him like typing on an old school calculator. And then it goes back and it shows him standing in front of a wall and he's facing the camera, and some crazy stuff starts happening with his eyes. Like they start turning white, like Three-Eyed Raven style, goes completely white. We don't understand what's going on with that. The next video is the first appearance of the orb. As it goes through, occasionally you'll see these little balls show up, and it's like a little red ball. It'll show up for a second and it changes the way Dad acts. Dad he seems very sluggish, and he's standing there with a briefcase and he's got a coffee cup, but he kind of seems like he's in off mode, if that makes any sense. The orb pops up and you hear a sound, and then the orb disappears, and it's like he wakes up. It's like, what the hell? So you kind of get the feeling that the red orb controls his mood and his actions a little bit. He said that he works for the corporation. You don't really, hear much about that. He also refers to his wife, Cheryl, and he said that, normally he starts off his day with Cheryl giving him a kiss on the cheek, and he seems like completely emotionally distraught that she's not there. Like he has to have that, that the validation of love from his wife to start his day. So he kind of mono focuses on that for, several minutes and seems really, really messed up about it. Video number 3 is Dad gets home. He looks disheveled. He looks like he's had a really hard day at work. He still seeks the love validation from Cheryl, and she's not there. Dad wants to quit his job and become the #1 YouTuber. Dad seems both confused and worried that his family is absent. We learn that Dad has a daughter at that point. So that's when we actually go, okay, I guess he is a dad, and that's not just his name. Following videos, number 4, Dad is sad and wondering where his family is. And he's also wondering if they actually still love him because they're not at home. So he seems very insecure and he needs a lot of reassurance. So he's sitting at a table. It's just a blank table. He's got a plate in front of him and he's got this white can that just says food on it. And so he seems very upset and he's having all this internal dialogue. That's another thing. You don't see, or people don't use their mouths when they talk. It's almost as if they're having an internal dialogue within their head. It's weird, but they can hear each other. So I don't know if it's like telepathy or, anyway, so he's upset, he's bummed, he's having a whole lot of problems. Next thing you know, orb appears again and the can magically becomes open and the food is on his plate, which just appears to be like, that jellied cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving. Apparently that's all they eat. That is their food source.
I love that shit.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
They're awesome because that's all they have to bring for Thanksgiving. Like they're set for the holiday.
Just throw the can. The orb disappears. Dad just seems very depressed. Next video up, Dad's family does arrive home. It picks up right after the dinner. Family went out because they said that they thought Dad was working late. Dad says, well, I wasn't working late. Dad was home on time. And he explains how he had a bad dinner. He didn't like his food. He had a bad dinner. And they said, well, they went out to a restaurant. And so as he's trying to explain that he had a bad dinner at a depressing time, wife, which is mom, just says, oh, well, that's nice, honey. And that's it. Like, there is no validation.
So far, okay, I'm sorry, but so far, this is my analysis. Dad is some sort of YouTube already. Mm-hmm. This is how getting up YouTube stars are being created. Middle-aged YouTube stars like myself and others. We get tired of our families and just want to become YouTubers. And this is what he is. He's the story of how middle-aged YouTubers begin.
Possibly that's it.
That's basically it.
He seems to have no validation from his family either, so maybe he's seeking attention outside.
This is it. Middle-aged YouTubing started in the making. This is they wanted to make a video game. They probably made a story, and this is what you guys got.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, after that, daughter walks off. The whole family just basically ignores him. She says, "I'm going to bed," and so everybody's ignoring him, and he kind of slings his arm and throws his plate off of the table. So he's clearly upset. The next video, and this was hilarious, the next video you see like a little small bar stool with a pie on it and a little Felix the cat figurine sitting on top of it. So that, if no one has put it together yet, is signifying PewDiePie because it's a pie and it's a Felix the cat and PewDiePie's real first name is Felix. So you see Dad walk up behind the pie and hit it with a 20-pound sledgehammer. It like destroys it.
Fucking love it.
And in the process of this, you hear this weird reverse speak in the background. You can't really tell what it says, but I cut it up and played it backwards for myself, and actually I have the audio and I can add it into the video later. And all it says is lasagna, bitch. I don't understand.
That something has something to do with lasagna cat?
Maybe.
Isn't that like
I'm sorry. No, it doesn't say lasagna, bitch. It says bitch lasagna. So,
yeah, so
I don't know.
Is that has something to do with lasagna cat? Because I hear a couple of guys in the chat always talk about it. So off the back, I'm just thinking.
Well, is it lasagna cat Garfield?
Well, it's Garfield, but lasagna cat's like the meme of Garfield for the kids. Apparently.
Oh yeah, and it's creepy.
So yeah, I that's how I would take it as. Maybe he's trying to promote and say who he likes and who he don't like. He's sorry saying like, hey, lasagna cat over fucking PewDiePie, bitch.
You know what? Somebody
I'm behind that.
We just got Noodles just told me that bitch lasagna apparently is a PewDiePie diss track.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. And PewDiePie being like, I don't know if he is the #1, but he is almost the #1 YouTuber. So since Dad wants to be the #1 YouTuber, I guess he's going to have to, diss on PewDiePie.
So far, is this story just a way of Dad saying, this is my, like, diss track? Is this a YouTube rap beef or some shit like that? Like, is this how he's just coming out, middle-aged old white man just come out of nowhere, just fucking making meme videos?
Well, no, I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because he's not necessarily, he's not really dissing PewDiePie, but he's wanting to be the #1 YouTuber. So I guess this is how he does it. And Awesome Possum just told me that Dad made an earlier video with PewDiePie in it. So there's that. So I guess it's, maybe he's trying to pick a beef. I don't know. I mean, T-Series picked a beef, and now look at them. So
it's more like on him just letting PewDiePie know and other YouTubers, because he has called other YouTubers out like that he's gonna be the best YouTuber. It's not really like dissing or anything. It's just telling them like, hey, I'm gonna be the next big thing.
Oh, so it's just like a friendly gesture, poke in the chest, like, hey, dude, guess what? I'm coming up next. Yeah, that's me. I'm coming.
Yeah.
No. Take me with you? Dad, if you ever see this, take me with you. I don't care for #2. I'll take 3 or 4, but take me with you. House of Spades. Yeah. All right.
That's right. We love Dad. I mean, I guess it's just Dad saying, hey, I'm about to come blow up your spot. We jump ahead to video number 7. We see Dad with the calculator again. Dad is concerned over the family and their finances. He's like, Dad has so many bills. We see daughter talking on the phone to someone named Griffin, possible boyfriend of daughter. We don't know, because Dad even mentions it to her. He says, is that your boyfriend? And she's like, oh my God, Dad, and just like walks off. Dad sees Cheryl, which is Mom, on the phone. She looks very nervous, and he asks her who she's speaking to, and she says, I'm talking to Diane, but seems really, she's lying. You can tell she's lying because she's like, and she kind of runs away from him with the telephone. And then Dad goes, I thought Diane and Abner were on vacation, and he looks very confused. Diane is Cheryl's friend. Later on, there is a video about Diane, and there's more details about Diane. Diane is awesome. And the song about Diane is amazing. All right, next video up, number 8. All you see is some rando dude chopping wood with an axe. And the video itself is called Nice Axe. And it's like, what the hell? It's just some dude chopping wood, and he chops like one log, which I think kind of implies there's a euphemism, splitting the log, that kind of, it means sexy time. So
you damn right it is, baby.
And
damn right.
there's also background noise played in reverse also that I had to swap around, and all it says is what's in the shed, and it's a woman's voice, and so it's kind of it's creepy. So yeah, going forward, you kind of get the idea that Cheryl is probably having an affair. You don't have like 100% true validation until later. So yeah, next video, Dad reminiscing about Cheryl. Dad misses Cheryl. He imagines her kissing him on the cheek. Then you see in the background, in the shadow, someone kissing him as he walks off the stage. Like, he walks off the stage and you see a shadow of someone kissing him. However, the shadow does not look like Cheryl. So
I just want to be sure. Cheryl is mom, wife, right?
Yes, Cheryl is mom.
And Dad's name is?
We don't know Dad's true name.
Okay. So who is this name that everybody, Andem? Who's Andem?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay,
It's way down.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead. No, everybody's
you're
throwing names at me, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so next video is Mom vacuuming. She is by herself vacuuming, and you see a white, generic-looking magazine pop up on the floor. And all it said is, Dad's magazine. So Mom walks over, she picks it up. She angrily looks at it and goes, oh dear, and like closes it and takes like throws it on the ground. So you assume that it's porn. Like she found Dad's porno mag. I don't know why it'd be laying in the middle of the living room floor, but there's a porno mag.
I mean, it's only right that it's laying in the living room floor because, I mean, as a husband, when the wife is gone and the kids aren't home, you can do whatever we want.
In the living room?
I mean, it's not supposed to be told that it's in the living room, but shit happens. It happens. Things happen. Every now and then we slip up. Dad slipped up heavily by leaving his stuff out in the open. But hey, things happen. Things happen.
Well, just a piece of advice to everybody: hide your porn. Just it's easy. Just hide your porn, or don't. It's 2019. Why are we looking at magazines anymore? Okay, so moving on. Mom continues to vacuum the floor. All right, next video is number 11. They're all sitting at the dining room table, mom, daughter, and dad, and mom is visibly pissed. Like dad is eating his cranberry sauce. Daughter is eating her cranberry sauce. Both of them have a smile on his face, on their face. Mom is just pissed. So anyway, daughter says to dad, she wants to know if Griffin can come over. And dad starts to say, there's a rule. You can't have boys over to the house until you're a certain age. And mom just cuts him off, like trumps him and says, oh yeah, he can come. And so dad looks at mom, was like, shouldn't we talk about this? And mom produces Porno Mag and says, we should talk about this. And so she makes dinner super awkward. Like everybody's looking at dad. He's got his hands down or his head down in his hands. He looks completely humiliated. Next video up is number 12. Now this one's great. Dad is walking around outside, just hanging out in nature. This is the first time that you actually hear a sound come out of his mouth. He just says, he goes, or and then he realizes the sound's coming out of his mouth. And so he starts saying his name, Dad, Dad, Dad. And then he can say his name and catch it with his hand and like move his hand and let it go. It's bizarre.
So letters are coming out of his mouth?
No, just sound.
Oh, he's catching the sound?
He's catching the sound in his hand and like moving his hand and letting it go.
That's wicked cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'd be a great ventriloquist. Dad goes around, he approaches a guy in the park who is sitting there with a baby in a stroller. Anyway, he's talking to this guy. Now the dude that is in the park in this particular video, I don't know his name, but I've seen him on several different shows, and he's actually on one of those insurance commercials right now. I love this guy. He's hilarious, but he's a very dry humor. So anyway, he's talking to this guy, and he's just like, Dad likes it here. Dad likes to be outside. And the guy's like, oh yeah, so you said you were a dad? And he just kind of looks at him, and then he goes, yes. He says, how many kids do you have? And he's like, he just kind of stands there and just stares at him for an awkwardly long time. And then he says, Dad has one daughter. And he was like, oh, well, how old is she? And he says, daughter is 3 eons old. For people who don't know, an eon is roughly 1 billion years. And he says it with a completely straight face. Oh, she's 3 eons years old. And the guy's like, oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes it feels that way. And so that's really weird. So then Dad awkwardly invites the man with his baby to True Value so he can show him all of the savings. And the stranger seems really weirded out by this. And he's like, oh, no, I got to get this one home. And just kind of leaves, which any rational person would do when this creepo approaches them in the park. All right, so next video is another music video. And it opens with Dad dancing. And he starts to give a account of like his typical day, what he does in the morning, wakes up and goes to work and da-da-da-da. He starts mentioning odd things, though. He says, spent days under Kepler rays. And I was like, what does that mean? And he says something about 22B. He represents 22B in the company. And so I looked that up. Kepler 22B. Kepler is an object of, Kepler 22B is a planet. It's a lot larger than Earth. It's not, and this is real, guys. It's not within our solar system. It's in another solar system, and apparently the Kepler telescope has picked it up. It is in the hospitable zone around a sun-like star. It's actually called KO1 or KOI 887.01. It's a extrastellar planet orbiting within the habitable zone of a sun-like star called Kepler 22b. So I guess we kind of have to think maybe he's in a different dimension. He's on a different planet. Also, during that video, you see a flash of a planet that kind of looks like Earth, but it's not. Oh, and then also during the song is actually really, really catchy. And he says in there in the song, watch out pew pew, also talking about PewDiePie. And he goes on to say, oh, I'm sorry, you hear in the background, you hear like a weird talking in the background. And it says, you still don't get it, do you? And at first I was like, okay, wait, that sounds like, I don't know why I recognize the sound of that. Well, then I started looking it up and I went deep diving into the internet here, and it's from the Terminator. It's from the original Terminator. It's an audio clip from that. And it's when
Love this guy.
yes, this guy is talking to Sarah Connor and he's in the car and he's like, he's never going to stop. He's never going, and that was him talking about the Terminator. So it's just like, what the hell? So it's awesome.
Real
Next
quick.
video. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. When I don't know why, but I'm sitting here listening to you, and every time you come up and say, please leave this part in the video. Every time you come up and say that he's dancing in the video, the first thing I think of is, remember the old Six Flags commercials?
Yes.
That's all I can see in my head. Please put a shot of the old man when you do this video. Please put a shot of the old man in the Six Flags commercial. Oh my God, that's the only thing I can think of. I don't even have to do that. You have got to watch the video with him dancing. He's got some fucking moves. You can ask that. He has got some moves. When this part comes up, you have to please put up the shot of the Six Flags old man so people can understand. Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head, because that's who I think of. Like, I think of the Six Flags old man every time you say, yeah, he's dancing, and it's like all I hear is do 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 do, and I just think of him just dancing in the middle of the street trying to get people on the bus to go to Six Flags.
Just getting it.
Yeah.
All right, so next video, again, dancing. So he's singing about random home maintenance, like talking about filling in a crack on the driveway, and he almost broke his back on the roof. And then he mentions the neighbor's shed. So remember, before there was another video in I think it was video number 8, possibly number 8. Let me go back and check my notes. Yes, number 8, it says, what's in the shed? Well, in this particular song, he starts to sing about the shed, and he said, he needs a 20-pound sledge to obliterate the neighbor's shed. Well, at this point, something happens and he starts glitching out, and then you see flash across the screen, error, ignore, and an orb pops up, and then Dad automatically changes and he resumes singing, but it's like he slipped over that. And then he says the line of, Dad's not jealous of neighbor's shed, he will build his own, apocalypse proof and 10 stories tall. Then he starts singing about his love for True Value again, and he mentions the server. And at that point, we don't know what the server is. So there's something about that shed, and I'm really curious in the shed. What's the fascination with the shed? So going on, the next video opens up with Dad singing again. He's got a lot of music videos, guys. And he actually, I'm going to drop a link in the description to a website called Bandcamp, where you can go and buy an album right now for $10, or you can just listen to all the songs. So yeah, it opens up with Dad singing about his confusion about Cheryl and his new feelings for Diane. This is the greatest song.
I love that song so much.
Like,
I'm down to make a video of my dancing skills to that song.
Does it something like this? Cheryl, and I'm in love with True Value.
No.
That's all I
You
Dad
have to
feels like a natural man when he's something about Diane. I don't know. It's amazing.
It's the best. You have to hear it.
So he's lusting over Diane. And see, at this point too, we don't know what Diane looks like. All we know is that there's a blurry face over a body. We don't know what she looks like. The next video is number 16, and it's basically a compilation of all the videos up until this point. It's kind of like an ad for the channel. It's like you would watch, like a sitcom that would have previously on blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like that. And it ends with, saying Dad loves you, which is very sweet. The next video, this one was This took me by surprise, and this was amazing. And I didn't think I was going to sit through the whole thing, and I did. There are 0 cutaways. All you see is Dad standing on the street, out in public, cars behind him, people walking past him. This is a solid hour of Dad dancing. There's a song playing about Dad feeling happy, and it's Dad dancing his ass off for an entire hour. Like, just think about that. Think about dancing a little bit for an hour, but this dude is dancing hard for an hour.
Six Flags guy. He's the fucking Six Flags guy. I'm telling you, he's the Six Flags guy. I know this. Nobody else can do that. But the
or he's on
guy.
meth. One of the two.
One of the two. Meth or Six Flags guy.
And so I was like, okay, so this is cute. You know, this is cute. You see him dancing and everything. I didn't really expect a whole lot from this video. Well, then it kept going, and you start noticing a whole lot of interesting things. Okay, so the longer you watch it and you start focusing on all the things around him, he's not the most interesting thing in this video, which is pretty damn funny. But you start noticing things happening around him. First of all, you see people just kind of on the opposite side of the street. You see them looking at him, and it's just, they're watching him dance. You see a couple people start dancing with him in the background. You see kids walking by. And so that's fun. Well, and seriously, guys, this is one of my favorite videos by far, all of them, because it will hit your funny bone. Some of his moves, it's stellar. So yeah, then you start noticing something weird. You start noticing one particular person that is weird. There's a person on the opposite side of the street. It's the first time you see him, and he's just standing there. Not moving, just standing there. And he's wearing, black pants, black jacket. He's got dark hair, sunglasses, and you see like an emblem on his jacket, like where his breast pocket would be. And you can't see it, but, he's across the street, and you see him stand there for a minute or two, just kind of watching. And it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Well, then probably about maybe 5 minutes go by. And then you see someone walk behind him and sit on this flower pot, this very large flower pot, at about the 41-minute mark. And so he just sits down. And then he proceeds to sit there for 5 minutes. Like, I timed it. And he's just watching it. Then he gets up and he walks away. And then he comes back at the 48-minute mark. And he sits down. And he stays there until the 51-minute mark. And he's drinking a cup of coffee. Then he gets up and walks off stage again. Then he comes back at the 53-minute mark. And at this point, I was like, okay, this dude is Jeff Goldblum, because he looks like Jeff Goldblum, but it's not. He also gets up and kind of comes around and stands a little bit between, he's not directly in the path of Dad, but he stands between Dad and the camera. And after a minute or two, he turns around, because he's also on his phone messing with stuff. He turns around to face the camera, and you can see that the emblem on his jacket is the YouTube button. And so you're like, okay, wait, is this YouTube watching him? What is happening? So yeah, then he leaves again, then he comes back, then he leaves again, then he comes back. He's just there. He doesn't interact in any way. Dad doesn't even acknowledge him in any way. He's just kind of orbiting around Dad, watching him dance. And I have to go back and watch the video again, because I didn't start noticing him until around the 40-minute mark, but I kind of get the feeling that he was in it from the very beginning. And there's also something that's weird too. I had noticed around the 59-minute mark, there's a ball of paper on the ground, and it kind of comes in out of the corner of the screen, and it goes behind Dad's foot, and then it vanishes. Like, it doesn't come out on the other side. Dad moves his foot. It's not sitting there. So there's something weird there too, because I'm like, is he standing on a ledge, like on a rise, or is he on a green screen or something? Because you learn really early off that pretty much everything that happens in the video has significance. So you start looking for these things, and it's weird. I got a lot of screenshots from the from that. All right, video 18 starts out with Dad and the family standing around the orb in the middle of the floor. Now, daughter and mom don't seem to be affected whatsoever by the orb. I think it's only Dad. The orb flashes, and it's like he's woke up again. And the video is also called Fantasy Story. And so they're talking about going to the park, and daughter is ready, and mom is standing there holding a book, and she mentions that the book that she's reading is a fantasy story. And Dad kind of starts talking in his mind. Well, I think he's talking to her, kind of about a fantasy. He's kind of alluding to Diane, but he doesn't say it. And then he instantly gets kind of pissed off. He says he's tired because he worked a whole lot yesterday, because this is the day after the dancing video. And then he kind of snaps at the family, and that cuts it off. Next video is video 19, and you see Mom slowly kind of sauntering into the living room, and this video is called Mom Home Alone, and she's carrying the piece of wood that neighbor was cutting with his nice axe the other day. It's like, okay, well, I guess that kind of cements it that she is having an affair with neighbor. She walks off screen. Then you see a shadow of Dad kind of come into focus, and then the video kind of ends from there. This is the first video also that you see a binary code. But yeah, binary code flashes at the bottom of the screen. What it translates to is nice axe, which was the video where they first see the neighbor. So it's kind of telling you where to go look to get that reference. All right, so next video is Neighbor Visits, which is number 20. So you see Dad kind of standing in the living room, and there's a ladder randomly standing next to him. He's questioning, like, what his wife was up to the day before. Like, why was she in the living room? What was she holding? What was she doing? And so anyway, you see neighbor kind of saunter in behind him, go over and, like, put his leg up on the ladder. You notice right off, too, that he speaks with his mouth. Like, he opens his mouth and words come out, unlike everybody else in this. So far, Dad hasn't been talking either. He's still just been, doing it through his mind. So he mentions, hey, what's going on? What's the matter? Dad explains that Mom is upset because she found the porno mag. Instantly, the orb appears and the magazine appears. And Dad seems extremely confused. He's like, maybe it is my magazine. The neighbor kind of slinks out, because the neighbor kind of explains to him, he's like, well, of course you would be mad, because, are you sure it wasn't your magazine? It's totally your magazine. And he kind of slinks out of the frame. And Dad seems kind of confused, but then also he's kind of like, well, maybe that is mine. I don't really understand. And more binary pops up. And that code says, you are not prepared for what's coming. And then another binary code pops up, and it gives a link to download Dad's music. All right, the next one up is video number 21. Dad is saying, Mom, and he needs to have a talk. The orb appears, an axe appears, and Dad starts chopping the hell out of a piece of wood. He's clearly upset. He's kind of like he's having like a weird Shining moment, like Jackie Boy is upset. Dad says his chores are done, and the video ends. This concludes part 1 of House of Spades Investigates Dad. Stay tuned for part number 2. And remember, don't get shuffled.
I fuck with devils. I'm a rebel. Big city goth bitch, I got several. Bitch, I fuck with devils.